I've been hemming and hawing about whether I even want to share this video, and I still, while I'm filming this, don't know if I'm going to or not. This is the very first guitar I ever made, 6-string guitar. I made some basses before, and it's not great. I made it out of materials you're not supposed to make it out of. I did it just completely on my own ideas and measurements. It didn't follow any forms. But it's 4 years old now, and it needs a little bit of a revamp, which is what I'm about to do here. And there's a couple things I want to take away from this. First is that it works. Second is it continues to work. Third is, we'll get to that at the end. This is the first electric guitar I ever successfully completed. But this is my first attempt at making like a normal guitar out of reclaimed materials. And it has been in my public library for about 4 years now. I went in there the other day and I saw it and I was like, you know what? I can make that thing look better. I based the neck on a 1960 Harmony Meteor that I have, which has a really skinny neck, and it's an arch top, it has a wooden bridge. And so I just made the neck that way, and I made the pocket, I chiseled it all out by hand and stuff. But the string spacing on it has to be a little bit narrower because the neck is so narrow. So the bridge is too wide, and you can see the strings kind of hang over like the edge a little bit at the top. And the other thing is the neck joint. I can see that I remember when I was putting this together, I was having trouble getting the angles and the height right because it's like an angled neck. And I'd shimmed it with a piece of wood, and that looks horrible. So today, and these strings are probably 4 years old, I can't imagine they've changed them. So today I'm going to take the strings off, take the neck off, I'm going to clean up this joint, and try to make this look a little bit better in here. I'm going to pull this bridge off, and I had bought a bridge that's a little bit narrower, but it's still probably too wide. And I'm going to maybe try to do that, and since it's more of a Strat style bridge, it'll be a little lower, so I can clean this whole neck joint up and bring this whole thing down a little bit and make that look better. And we'll see what other problems we stumble across along the way. But I'll tell you what, I was pretty pleased, even though there's a lot of things on it that look really crude, I was pretty pleased with how it played. Like the frets seemed pretty good and stuff, so I don't think I'm going to have to do too much there. Let's dig in. I started down this journey of making reclaimed, wood guitars, and I was trying to do things intentionally wrong. I was pushing the envelope and seeing what I could get away with. I mean, this guitar has holes right through it, which I love. I did the wood at an angle. This is Doug fir. It's like a really soft pine. It was reclaimed from the boardwalk that got wrecked by a hurricane, and I ended up putting these stripes in it to kind of give it some support because you can see these huge gaps and grains. I mean, you could actually just like bend this guitar. So there's like a lot of things that are kind of wrong about this. I want to try and keep it together, and part of me doesn't want to do any changes to it because it's sort of a piece of history. So I asked the library that owns it, I said, can I give you a new guitar and just take this one back? And they're like, no, we really like having that guitar there. We like that it has this wood that was reclaimed from a local tragedy, and I want it to be as good as possible. So I bought this bridge, almost exactly 2 inches, so it's just a little bit narrower than most guitars. The bridge that's on here now is about 2 1/8. It's fun looking at this though, going down memory lane of remembering, building this. I did this all by hand, of course, and I didn't even make templates. I just sort of did it all freehand. It's really interesting to look at this right now because it's so much worse than the guitars I can make now. And sometimes while you're in the process of doing things and learning things, time seems to go really slow. But in reality, it's only been about 4 years since I made this guitar, and I'm making them so much better now to the point where I basically have a guitar making business. And 4 years ago, this guitar took me like 100 hours and is, quite frankly, subpar. So I guess the moral of that story is keep going. It's like, don't look at each individual sort of hill, but just keep going, keep making small steps and getting a little bit better and making mistakes and learning from them and being proud of where you are, but also knowing that you can go further. Grommets that are sitting here, and I want to try and get these out without destroying the guitar because this bridge is just going to sit flat, and then I'm going to fill them with something, and then I can use this bridge again on another guitar. But I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that. Oh, that was easy. The biggest problem with using soft wood like this is this neck joint and that bridge location there, because these are the spots that need to be strong. So look at this. It looks like I had some issues putting this all together. This is a mess in here. Clean all this up, replug it. I'll probably plug this too, and I'm going to plug these holes. I think what I'm going to do here is actually create a router template and route in like a little 1/2-inch patch here of some hardwood. So I need to get a thinner trim ring. Maybe I'll see if I have one of my record ones I can use. Yeah, we can see here that there's a bow in there, in the neck a little bit too. You can see that. Well, there's your problem. Gotta flatten it out here as well. So this neck is also Doug fir. It's pine. It's the same boardwalk wood, but the fingerboard is, it looks like rosewood. I must have had a piece from back in my pre-woke days. And it seems to have been fine. It doesn't have any warps or kinks in it. I was a little surprised by that, to tell you the truth, because this is not a really good wood to make a guitar neck out of. Quite plainly put, I don't think pine is really that great of a wood to work with, especially for trying to do, you know, somewhat fine joinery and whatnot. It's I've always had difficulty getting it to behave the way I want it to. I'm sure if I had more experience and sharper chisels, it would be a slightly different story, but I don't think I'm going to get the level of perfection with this that I would with a hardwood. I just never have been able to. That's probably as good as we're going to be able to get it with this pine. I need to fill these holes that the old bridge had these pegs that went into, and I'm going to use this dowel because I just happen to have it as the right size, but it's probably going to look pretty ugly. But first we're going to fill the hole, so we'll start there. No one will ever notice. The bridge is going to go right around here. I think we can do something better. These accent stripes that I put in the guitar for stability are made of some mahogany scraps that I had. And I have this piece of mahogany here. So what I'm going to do in this area is I'm going to create a little router template and just route in however thick this is. I'm just going to route a little plate in here, and what that'll do, and then I'll glue it in, and then that'll give me a nice flat, a little bit more stable surface to screw my new bridge into. Hey, make with what you got, you know? So I'm just going to sort of position this . The trajectory that they go down the neck here, and I want to try and center them the best I can, and that's about the best I'm going to be able to do. You can see I made this neck so skinny it's still a little tight on the edge. I would like to have a little bit more material there, but that was what I was into at the time when I made this. I just didn't have the ability to manufacture a bridge, and I was thinking about maybe making a wooden bridge and making it like an arch top almost, so I could really manage the string spacing, but I think that might get too complicated and there's a lot of issues with that, so I'm just going to go with this little bridge and do the best I can.
For a certain joke, and then you're left with these characters with tremendously.
Okay, I moved over to my setup bench. I added a 4th screw to the back just to give it a little better grab because some of this is a little worn out. And I put the neck back on and it was sitting kind of down. So this end of the fingerboard was kind of a little lower than I wanted it to be. So I went and I put a shim in of just a piece of this very thin wood veneer. And now that's set the neck up exactly where I want it. But unfortunately it gave me a little bit of that visible gap here again. But we're just not going to worry about that. And it feels pretty good. And so I just went and I set the action up about where I like it. It's about 2/32 off all the frets. And all the frets sound good except for a couple that you can see I marked with some green Sharpie. There's a couple high spots here. Hear how it... Right there is the spot. So I'm going to go through, and here's another one. A couple up here. I'm going to go through with a file and just sort of level those all out very carefully. You can see after watching this video why I've been hesitant to share it, because it's not a great representation of my work and I don't want it to reflect on what I'm capable of today. But then I thought about it, and what my channel is all about to me and hopefully you, besides the sustainability side of it, is about trying new things and, you know, forging your own path. I look at how far I've come from that to what I'm doing now, only 4 years later, and it reminds me of how much I've accomplished in a short amount of time. And it's not because I'm gifted or some genius. I mean, you've seen my crap. It's because I continue to try, and I get in the trenches every day and I slog through it, and I make mistakes and I try to fix them and I problem solve. And that's what I want to encourage other people to do too, to go out and figure it out and go out and try their own things and say, like, well, you know what, I know everybody else doesn't make it, and I know they say you're not supposed to make it out of this, but why? Let me try. So that's why I'm sharing this, because I've been pretty open about that since I started my channel, that I'm not a great woodworker and I'm just learning in real time. And I'm proud of what I've accomplished in 4 years, but more importantly, I can't wait to see where I'm, you know, at 4 years from now, because like, I'm pretty proud of the stuff I'm making now, but if it's gonna look like this does to me 4 years later, like, man, I might be making some really cool stuff. But I know I'm gonna keep trying no matter what, and I'm gonna keep slogging through. And maybe I'll still make videos, and I hope you know, come along with me. But more importantly, I hope you go out and forge your own path and try your own thing and share your own mistakes and grow from them, and not listen to the haters, and be yourself. Otherwise, you know, what's the point? Thank you very much for all your time and for watching. Be good.